Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Outwired. My name is Brian Searle with Insider Perks. Super excited to be here with everybody. Welcome back to our esteemed equal hosts. I almost called you co-hosts, but you're not co-hosts. You're equal hosts. Greg Emmert from Vireo. What's your tagline? Greg?
Oh, my tagline? I don't
Yeah,
know if I
your
had
logo.
something around that had my tagline on it. Oh,
Focus.
there it is.
Oh, look, you just found it out of the blue. Rooted to my screen's small and I have bad eyes. Rooted to rise, built to fly.
Yeah, man.
Choke on the fluffiness of that shit. What I want to do. Anyway, Scott, do you have like a tagline? Do you have? It's probably like he's from Maine and in the woods. It's probably manually as fuck. Like whatever Scott's tagline is.
You know, I used to have something. I haven't used the tagline in a while. It's like something like we know shit about statistics or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
But no, I messed.
You want to succeed? Fuck yeah. That should be your tagline.
There it is.
You really should.
Yeah.
There it is.
I have a little icon, like a little character we can give you for that if you're interested, like your little mascot.
I'm interested.
All right, so we got an interesting show for you today. We're going to talk about a couple different things. The gentleman, I want to start with what's kind of come across your desk first, as we always do. But then we got like a jam-packed show. I don't know what you guys want to start with. Like we're going to dive into the types of people that visit RV parks, campgrounds, glamping resorts. Not just your standard like boomers and Gen X, but really into the niches. Scott did some really cool research that I haven't had a chance to look at, so I'll be exploring it along with you. We'll deep dive into a little bit more of that stuff. And then like yesterday was Google I/O. Like I thought I was going to come on the show and be like, hey, they're going to launch a couple things in AI search, and they just blew everything out of the water yesterday. There's like 25 things that they talked about that are crazy. So, start with your little thing of the week, and then you guys can decide together which one you want to do first or tackle first. I'm open to either way.
So I can, since I always throw it at Scott, I can start with the thing that came across my desk, or more about what my boots went across. I had a really interesting site visit this morning with a gentleman who purchased a pretty large chunk of property, pushing 125 acres. And wants to develop it into some camping, glamping. It has some really unique challenges. The topography and stuff is interesting. It's going to make it difficult for RVs, but for glamping and cabins, and this is where I kind of want to lean into, because I've also been doing a little bit of work for someone up in Anchorage who wants to build a campground, and she's got really lofty expectations for what she's going to get in on the side of a mountain. But just it's interesting to me how much that I'm still seeing people buying, selling, developing, and how much my studies are coming back. And it very much dependent on the property and the location, right? Like anything else. But the glamping, I mean, I know it's hot and it's not, and I am certainly not just trying to, jump on the glamping bandwagon, but especially when you're looking at properties with tough topography, it just pencils out so much easier. We don't have to move, 500,000 cubic yards of dirt to flatten things off. You can take advantage of the property, the topography that, if you're building RV park, is a serious thorn in your side, is an awesome attribute. If you're building a glamping property, you can cantilever these things out over a bluff or over a hillside. And I don't know. So that's it. That is really not cohesive or coherent in any way, but that's
all right. Wait till you hear what I'm going to take us on, like something that's completely unrelated. But like, that's interesting to me. Like I would not be surprised at all if 15, 20 years from now, 50% of what all of us do in this industry is glamping.
Yeah. It certainly looks like it, because you can take those pieces of property where people go, I'm not going to buy that. It's out here in the middle of nowhere, and it's got, we'd have to level everything off. No, you wouldn't. Build a roadway, build your community spaces on a few flat areas that you might be able to find, and then just work with the incline, work with the elevation. Don't log the entire property so that you can run, roadways and campsites everywhere. And sorry about that. I don't know if you guys heard my phone.
Or build a flying car experience where you can rappel down into your tent site. Yeah,
absolutely.
I would say.
So to your point, as long as people don't get more, the way we're headed economically, who knows how price sensitive glamping gets. But for right now, I agree with you, Brian. It feels like a lot of it is going to go that way, the development side, at least from the land part. Now, granted, it costs a lot more to build a dome and a deck than it does a campsite.
Right now. So that's what I'm saying. Remember, I
Correct.
said 20 years
Correct.
out, right?
Yep, right now it does. And even though it does, the return is like 5x. It's like I can make as much for my client with one dome or yurt or whatever it might be, 4 to 5 campsites I can erase with one of those. So it's they in the right place, just like anything else. It's got to be the right location, but they pencil all day long. So
yeah, but even that's going to flip on its head one day, right? Like, what's the right location? That could change a whole lot in 20 years.
Sure could, especially if you can drive an hour outside of a city and then hop on a VTOL, right, and get taken another hour and a half to someplace that has no connectivity or anything. People would,
or you just fly. Like, and I don't want to talk about the flying car thing, but there's a cool Canadian company that actually is building flying cars that have turnable wings. And they have fixed wings in the air, and so they can fly like 500 miles already.
Yep, they're basically like the Osprey that the U.S. military uses, right? They can turn up and then just go. Really cool.
Like the distance of like vertical takeoff with electric, and then uses regular fuel. So right, interesting. All right,
that's
Scott.
Sweet.
You know, what really kind of occurred to me very strongly this week, maybe the last couple of weeks even, is how important it is that if you have an idea and you really think it has legs, to just do it.
Yep.
You know, it's like, don't talk about it, because if you talk about it, guess what's going to happen? Someone else is going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, even the whole idea of be quiet, wait, and not wait, and just do it. If you really think it's a good idea, take the risk and just, step out there and do it. Because, I think this is super important. I think for me personally, I've experienced that a bit, where I've had, some ideas, and I'll talk to someone about it, and next thing I know, someone else is doing it. And that's okay, because they took the opportunity and ran with it, so I don't blame. I don't place blame. I'm just saying, it's like that for me was very, very a very strong theme recently. And hopefully, maybe I've learned my lesson, finally.
Well, Greg and I are used to doing that a little bit faster, just because we're old and you're so young and you have your whole life ahead of you, Scott. So like, we're used to moving fast. Like, you'll get there, man. Like, you have your whole 20s and 30s and all that stuff to go. So, but did I talk about, like, I can't remember if this was on this or the Fireside Chat show last week. Did I talk about the book I was reading about parallel universes or whatever? Did I do that on the show?
I don't think so.
This is to your point of what you're talking about, specifically, like the idea that, like, I have this idea and then, well, what if it works out this way or doesn't work out this way, or maybe I'm going to pause, or what if this happens and it's uncertain and I'll wait till I know more. And there's this really cool book I'm reading called The Midnight Library. That's not, I guess it's about parallel universes, but it's about this woman who wants to die in the beginning. And then she goes to this crazy place called the Midnight Library, where it's a endless, infinite, like, volumes of books of all the different decisions she makes and the lives that she would have lived based off of all those decisions. So basically you have infinite possibilities of your lives. And then, like, the whole goal of it is, like, well, at least I'm only like 4 or 5 chapters in, right? Maybe a little bit longer, but the whole goal of it is, like, for her to say, I actually want to live, right? So see what the different possibilities are. So it lets her, like, jump into another life, but, like, from the present, not from the past. So from the current time of where that is in the book. So it's just really interesting to see, like, how, like, something you think might have gone differently didn't go that way. And to Scott's point, like, make the decision. You're never, no matter how long you wait, you're never, ever, ever going to know what the other decision would have been.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, it could be much better. It could be much worse. It could, like, if you would have not made the decision you did, you could have ended up, like, at a business conference in China and walked out the street and got hit by a bus. Like, I mean,
that's very Final Destination,
right? Like, you don't know. So just try is my thing. Did that kind of hit the nail on the head, Scott?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
All right. My one thing is totally unrelated to anything. I just wanted to talk about it real quick because it was on my mind. Like, intermittent fasting. Yeah, how's that for a curveball? So I started doing this a while ago by accident. Like I've been doing this for years because like I would work and get in the zone, and then I would just forget to eat. Right. So like I would start work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden I'd look up, it'd be 5, 6 o'clock at night. I'd be like, oh, I guess I need to eat something for today. And so like my body started being trained to do that. And so in some form or fashion, I've been intermittent fasting for a long time, but not long enough to really do like the supposed health benefits and things that they talk about, that like if you go 16, 17 plus hours of fasting and then all the way to like 48, to what that's going to be like. But so I'm starting to do that now. So like Saturday and Sunday, I did a 48-hour fast, had nothing but water and a couple supplements, like very little, right? But it's really interesting to me to see. And now I'm cramming everything into a 2-hour window. So I've got my whiskey here. It's the first time I've had whiskey since I think last week, because I stopped drinking to do the calories at night, because I'm cramming everything into a 2-hour window between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. I'm having all my supplements and all my food, and then I'm going 22 hours between my meals. The whole goal, do you guys know anything about fasting at all?
Mm-hmm.
So the whole goal of it, what I'm doing is not like, it is sort of weight loss, although I'm not like, I don't consider myself fat, but like I'm probably 10, 15 pounds overweight. But the whole goal of it for me is autophagy, to like have your body will actually trigger a process after 17 hours that will start to repair and break down your bad proteins and your cells and your DNA. And it's pretty cool, interesting science-backed stuff. So anyway, that's what was on my mind. I was rushing to eat a sandwich and my shake and everything else and all that stuff before the show. So anyway, what do you guys want to start with? AI mode, or you want to start with the niche stuff?
Let's go niche even.
You concur, Scott, or you just want to argue with him endlessly?
Yeah. No,
Okay,
that's
one to one. Like, I'm not going to weigh in.
Argue with anyone today.
Okay, I mean, we could have had a tie. It would have been interesting.
And yeah, unless someone
like
with some
had contests to see how fast people could spin in their chairs to break the tie, or
Rochambeau for it.
We could have. All right, so niche. Jessica, in ClickUp over there, I'm talking to Jessica. Over there in ClickUp, which is the thing on the left-hand side there, yeah. There's like channels on the left-hand side, and there's one that says Outwired, and if you click into it, there's a chat GPT link. I'm going to let you talk in a sec, Scott. Sorry. I just want to try to get your link up here and share it for everybody. Actually, you know what? Maybe I can find it in here. I'll find it, Jessica. Tell us what you did, Scott. I'll find it on my little computer over here.
Essentially, what I did was, instead of thinking about, putting people into buckets, based on who they are, it's to go out and find, what can you do about what people do, more, what are their, whether it's, hobbies, activities, stuff like that. I mean, this is prompted by conversations we've had about how it seems that some sectors within, our industry are fairly siloed. And they don't really, I don't think they understand with the over, I don't want to call it, not overflow, but how, some of these other groups of people out there that are experiencing the outdoors in different ways and for different reasons, kind of what they might need and how you might be able to structure some, offerings, services, amenities, information, stuff like that for these groups. So what I did was went through and just picked 4 different groups and asked, I used in AI and Chat GPT to kind of create a, what you should do as a campground.
I've got it. You tell me when you want me to share it.
You can do it now.
Okay. Jessica, you want to hit my camera over here with my screen share? All right. So go ahead. Please continue. And then just tell me when to scroll. And
the first one is, you can scroll down a little bit to
oh, you don't want them to see your magic prompt? It's already on video. They can pause it. I'm sorry.
They're going to steal it. See, they're going to steal my idea. There it goes.
There it is.
Out the door, man.
There. Full circle.
I mean, that's your own damn fault for getting on the show and not taking action on your idea, man.
Full circle.
So the first group is overlanders. I did some research this year for the overlanding folks, the Overland Expo people, and it kind of prompted me to think about this category a little bit more, and because it seems like they're over here, campgrounds are over here, but in speaking to some of the folks who are actually involved in it, they talk about the use of campgrounds and how they use them for their trips. So that's kind of the setup for this. And then basically, I did it from two different perspectives. Like, what should you do for these folks when they arrive, or what can you have, or what can you offer? And then the other part was, what about when they leave, or not when they leave, but after they're done with their trip and they want to have a day to come back and decompress or whatever. So, I'm not going to read through all this, but I'm just going to kind of show, you can see on the screen the physical services and amenities, pull through sites. They want those. A lot of these people have trailers. Gear staging. This is important for anyone who does any kind of group trip, or, this could be a backpacking trip. This could be any kind of trip. It could be a fishing trip, anything. We'll get to that in a minute. But the gear stuff and organizing and stuff is super important, obviously. Areas for trailers. They're going to have devices they need to charge and to have those hookups. Fuel. Also, one of the things I thought was important too was what kind of information that people would need. So consulting and information resources, route planning. Route planning kiosks came out on this with digital maps and stuff. On-site staff or volunteers. Like, if you have a group of overlanders coming in, maybe have some folks who know the area that could talk with people, guides and experts. I mean, tap into your local resources again. We've talked about that a lot throughout the weeks on here. You could even do, you could do workshops. You could even have, some of the participants do these workshops, or for some of your other guests. It would be kind of a cool thing to do to have, if you have an overlanding group come in, have them talk about overlanding. A lot of people don't know what overlanding is.
I have a question just related to this and some of the other stuff as we're continue to go on. Is there a point in scale where you're like, this is worth me bringing in a group or bringing in a workshop? Like, do I need a certain, because you don't want to bring in an expert and have them talk and then have like nobody or one person or three show up, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you have like, a group of like 2 to 4 people that are going on an overlanding trip, you're probably not going to do a workshop, but if you have a group of, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, it's probably worth considering something, at least talking to them about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Anticipate in advance. And again, as we talked about this before too, if you're the campground owner, to find out something about these people before they arrive, like, are these experienced overlanders, or are they novice, or are they a mix?
Well, you find out whether they come back from their trip with the bears on the hiking trail, right? And you learn quickly if they're novices or not.
Right. And do they know the area? Have they gone there before? Is this their first time? I mean, all those things would be like, again, if you have a group that's coming in, maybe they have their own itinerary, but if they haven't been there before, they still need some information. So, or could benefit from that kind of thing. Again, a bit prior to arrival, partnering up with outfitters and stuff like that is, to me, that's would be super helpful for them to have. Anyway, there's a lot of local connections you can make. It's basically thinking about this group, how they experience the outdoors, and what would be helpful for them before they head out. And then also the post trip. Here it is. I mean, I've done these trips myself, whether it's backpacking or a form of overlanding, and it's nice to have this day when you come out of the wilderness. Especially, I mean, I've done it more probably with backpacking trips where you really, really want a shower. You really want a hot shower. But, to focus on comfort and prep for, they're probably going to travel. A lot of these people might be flying or maybe driving long distances home. But, to be able to clean themselves, clean their gear, to be able to sleep in a comfortable bed, an area for them to, if they're with a large group, an area for them to hang out and talk. That's a big thing. Everybody likes to talk about the trip. What went well, what didn't, all that kind of stuff. Just sharing their experiences. The other stuff, be able to, again, clean, dry gear, food becomes an obsession. So food is always something to think about. Again, experience sharing. You could, again, if you have a large group or whatever, you could share this with some of your other guests. Again, I think people are really interested in this, and this is a great way to offer something that people would be very interested in finding out about. Again, each of these has a strategic takeaway, which I kind of liked here to attract overlanders. You offer more than just a place to park. I mean, that's the bottom line. Again, launch pad for prep, connection, confidence building, post trip with sanctuary and comfort, and stuff like that. But the idea here, as it says, combine infrastructure with curated knowledge and regional insight. It's like that. That's really, if you think of it, that's kind of the core of what you're looking at. I did another one, and this was the off-roaders. And here, a lot of this stuff is somewhat similar, except, again, if you have a group of off-roaders coming in, they're probably taking a bunch of day trips. They're not going to go out for several days. That's overlanding. But off-roaders, they want to go out, hit some trails, and come back later in the day, probably. So, again, were you going to say something?
No, I just said okay.
Okay. Again, here you'll see some similarities that for the sites. A lot of these people, they're hauling stuff. They have trailers, and stuff like that. So they need some area for their gear and stuff like that. Again, curated knowledge. We'll keep going back to that that you can bring to the table, whether it's help with planning, stuff. I like this one here. Rules and local ordinances. That to me is something that they should all know before they head out, and they may not. Some of it's not readily available, but if you had that, again, and this is again knowing how many people are going and how many people are in these groups. A lot of times these folks do like to travel in fairly large groups. On-site guide availability or partnering, stuff like that. Again, you can tap into those local resources.
I have a question. Sorry, I'm just curious. I'm thinking about this as you're talking. Like, obviously, this is very specific to the campground, to the location. Do you have overlanding opportunities nearby? Do you have this kind of stuff nearby that these people are going to come to your park and stay? Right? Is that fair?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there's still a massive opportunity here, right? There's a lot of parks that have a lot of these places nearby, even if you're not heavily marketed by a tourism bureau or Moab or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many places in the United States and Canada that can take advantage of things like this that are even more undiscovered. I still remember, I don't know if you probably knew him, Greg, Jerry Dale from Manchester KOA had his secret Smokies tour or whatever that he did around Manchester KOA. There was just all these little tiny waterfalls that you hadn't really heard of before around the Smoky Mountains. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to curate that stuff. But here's my question. I've been on some of these sites before, like booking.com or Expedia or things like that. And you see, or maybe Viator is a better example, right? The ticketed tourism experiences where I will go to a city and I'll say I want to do a food experience or a foodie tour or, anything else, right? Like out to the Northern Lights in Iceland or something like that, right? A curated tour. But sometimes those are packaged with accommodations. So I feel like there's probably an opportunity here to maybe even get your campground on a platform like Viator and become almost like a mini tour operator, isn't there? Like, we're just going to package 3 nights at our campground. Like, if you want to do this thing in this area, that's cool. Here's your package deal, but you're going to stay in one of our cabins or glamping units. Maybe?
Yeah, I think absolutely. And a lot of what Scott is talking about here is concierge level type services, right, Scott? Is kind of
absolutely
what you're leaning into. So, and that is something that, so if you're a park owner operator, you're listening right now, you don't need to necessarily be catering to overlanders or off-roaders, and you can offer concierge services to whatever you've got nearby. You can offer curated
ChatGPT on your computer. You're like, oh yeah,
absolutely,
I know about that.
Absolutely. I had long before we sold our park, I would send my employees, if I had work campers, they were new to the area, I would pay them a day to get in their own car and go out and discover the area and see if they would find something new that I didn't know about, because everybody has different thoughts and different likes and different dislikes. And I bet you at least 50% of the time they would come back with something and I'd go, I've never heard of this. I've owned this park here
like
now
how many
for 20
bars
years.
did they find?
And so there were certainly some of those that just enjoyed their day and took the day to drive around. But you know what? I was happy to do that. It was like a team building thing.
Sure.
And it was good liver exercise, I guess, for them. But yeah, that is another way we touch on this show all the time about what's like the cheapest, quickest thing I can do to up my game at my park. And I've said it 100 times and I'll always say it: customer service. What's better than having a guest come into your store and say, you know, what's to do in the area, and having that person behind the counter actually know and say, well, we have this Hidden Smokies tour, or we have this guy down the street who has this really interesting little museum that he's built and hardly anybody ever goes there and knows about it. Knowing all those little hidden gems and training your front desk folks and even your maintenance people. Like how long does it take for you to teach your maintenance guys where things are, so they're not always just like grumpy sending people to the front desk? Like, get ready to have these conversations with people and know the area, know what things cost, know if you have a way to do it, sell tickets to local events. If you can sell them through your park, whether you get to mark them up or not, who cares? Offering that service, that's a major
mark
bump
up your campsite, right? Like it'll help you
right.
mark up your,
Yes, absolutely.
You'll make the money anyway.
So I didn't mean to derail, but this you're leaning into
to your advantage is the thing, is what you're trying to say, right?
Absolutely.
And so like the concierge, I mean, heck, like even like we'll take it Brian's way for a second. Like somebody comes in, screams and shouts at you, says they've had a bad time, like have a gift certificate to like a never-ending winding road that takes them down dark alleys, and be like, I'm so sorry for your experience. Here's a gift certificate on us. And then they
lead them out of the park, never to be seen again.
Yeah. Like, how do you handle your problem guests? I don't know. Like, I just give them this like free thing, and they never come back. Anyway, sorry, go ahead, Scott.
Sorry.
No. This is way more interesting than going through a laundry list of things. But I think the point, just kind of moving on here, that it's kind of what you're talking about, though. It's like, if the 4 examples I have here are all about where you're at and what's local, what's available. These are just examples, really. Like the off-road people, they're going to come back dirty, muddy every day. That just, that. And it's like, what are they going to want to do? They're probably going to want, they're going to want to clean up, power wash their ATVs, power wash themselves, and probably drink beer and roast some meat on a barbecue. That's that's who they are. That's the group. And to understand them and know that you can, if you do things, and like Greg said around the service, what are you offering up? It's like that's what it's all about. So they're in these lists. There's some great stuff here. Final day. Like I tried to focus on arrival while they're there than when like last day.
Yeah, because they're going to be out off your park.
Yep.
It's like you want that to be smooth. You want to you want them to be able to get out of there smoothly and get on the road and clear out. So whatever you can do.
But maybe that's a missed opportunity, guys. Like, I mean, why do they have to leave your park? Like, if you could save all that money on paving your roads and organize, like they could just be totally off-road, and then there's so much less maintenance and cost you have to do. It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, the ruts in the road become just that's just terrain, right? To be right on. Exactly. I got you.
All right, sorry, Scott.
No, that's okay. In this case too, I think the strategic takeaway is probably one of the more important things, because everybody's going to have something different here to think about. So if you scroll to the strategic takeaway, Brian, that
on the job drinking whiskey
stuff. But to attract and retain off-road day trippers, you have to be more than scenic. You function as a trail-focused support hub. It's like I really like that. It's like that's kind of what it's all about. That's what they're looking for. You can either provide it, you can help them with it, but they're going to do it anyway. They're going to look for those things. They're going to find them. And for you, as Greg said, it's an opportunity. I think both you guys mentioned that. It's like, this is an opportunity for you. That you can, again, I did the same thing with fly fishing anglers as well, because it's such a specific group of people, and the people who are interested are fairly, specific too. I've actually done some work in the fly fishing category, some research.
I've never fly fished before.
See, you're part of this. Like, wouldn't it be cool to go to a campground and where you could learn how to fly fish? They'll take you out on some excursions, maybe.
The answer is no for me, because I don't have the patience to do that. Like I can go on a long tour for like grizzly bear watching or something like that, right? But like when it's me controlling it and I'm not doing anything like that, I can't do that. But that's me. I'm a very small minority, I'm sure. Like,
that's
for sure, it's
one of the more
relaxing.
true things you've ever said.
Y'all know I'm willing to criticize myself, so no problem there.
But here again, they're just thinking about people who fly fish. It's like, they're going to come in. If they're experienced, they're going to have their own gear. They're going to have all their own stuff, and they're going to pretty much know. But they're also going to want to know, like, what should I be using here? What's the hook them up with some local knowledge. That where should you go? What can you do? It's like they want water access, and there's opportunity here for just putting people put them in the right direction. Where are things going? What's going? What are the local fishing reports? What's going? Stuff like that. Again, if you're in an area where fly fishing is popular, I mean, having fly tying benches or gear maintenance tables, I tell you what, a lot of the experienced people would absolutely eat that up.
Yep.
If they had a place to set up, especially if they've forgotten the right flies, or they want to do their own. It's like that would be huge.
And this is like, I think so many people, just to set the stage for what we're going to do here and continue talking about, and then I want to dive into this with O3 into a little bit more niche stuff too and see what it says. But to set the stage here, like, there's so many people, like, I do marketing for 500 parks, and they come to me and like bless their heart, they're not doing anything wrong, right? But like, I just want to reach RVers. Like, I want to reach the long-term campers, or I want to reach the transients, or I want to reach the people who come from here or come from there. And it's all the same basic 5 type of people, right?
Yep.
And they don't think about, what if I niche down, and what if I target these people with either pages or advertising related to them, or give them even the long-term stays. So many people don't do this for. If you're mostly long-term, or even greater than like 40%, put a long-term camping page on your website and show them where the hospital is and where the bank is and where everything else is, right? The more easier and convenient you can make it on people, the more you can identify with them, the more that you make them feel special, because, oh my God, I'm a fly fisher. I went to this campground page and there's a whole page on fly fishing. Clearly I fit here, right? And that's what the AIs are going to think in the future too. Clearly my fly fisher person, is that what you call them? Is it a legitimate team, or did I just make that up? Fly fisher person?
Angler.
Angler. Okay.
Angler.
So right, but like the angler can come to and it's like, I'm going out and researching on behalf of my person. I know he's an angler. Where am I going to choose? Am I going to choose the place that says we have fly fishing nearby, or am I going to choose the website that has a whole page dedicated to fly fishing with pictures of people fly fishing and all the amenities and all the things and where to get local bobbers? And like, well, you're not using bobbers there, but you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, bobbers, floating indicators, Brian. Fly fishermen are extremely touchy about the bobber thing.
Okay.
That we could do a
I
whole
myself really quickly. Okay. I don't know what to tell you.
What do you got there? Is that a muddler minnow on the cup there, Scott? It's you never say, but I can't believe somebody said bobbers.
To be fair, first off, we're talking about anglers, which is a broader word. Let me be clear. Secondly, I also just disclosed I don't go fishing because it's boring.
Fair enough. Oh my God, it just got worse. People are just tuning out of the show.
It's like golf. Golf is a good walk wasted. Mark Twain, genius guy. That's what it is. I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm sorry.
But I love this approach,
kayaking, like all that kind of stuff. You can get me in that. No problem.
I love this approach for everything you just talked about, Brian. This is what I'm sitting here thinking as you're talking. Everybody wants that same. Well, we just want family RVers. well, that's a really wide, like, what do you,
Right.
people are afraid to niche down. And so I just,
Also, they
while we're
don't know
doing this,
how,
because
though. Sorry, continue, and then I'll take
no,
on with
well,
that.
39.9 million US residents age 16 or older participated in recreational fishing in 2022. Those numbers are up since then. That's $100 billion.
Those were kids that were forced by their dads, though.
No, that doesn't happen anymore. Those
Okay.
those kids are staring at screens. They're I'm gonna get my old man fist out in a second and be like, kids need to go outside. But yeah, 100 billion on fishing related expenses and equipment. Ripple effects throughout the economy. Overall, recreational fishing contributed $230 billion in 2022. That's not a tiny niche. Like, if you're near the stream, to Scott's point, don't be afraid to niche down, because then you get that tribal aspect, which, Brian, you were just kind of leaning into. Now it feels like these are my people. This is where I belong. Boy, now they're connected to your place. And Scott's idea about the bench, the fly tying bench, especially if there are local anglers, you would have no shortage of guys that would be willing to come out and teach, a small group how to tie their favorite fly or their local pattern. They love to do that stuff.
Absolutely.
And the thing is they just don't know how, though, right? Like, a lot of these owners don't know how,
or just haven't thought of it. Just
or haven't thought of it
to niche down.
But or then if they thought of it and they didn't act on it, and then somebody else did what they wanted to do, or like they thought of it and then they don't have the time or whatever, right? Something has happened, but like, it's not just the knowledge and the tailoring of the service in person, it's the whole website. Like, it's so, I mean, it goes to the people like we're trying to talk to. Like, I had, and I won't, obviously, for whatever reason, I won't name their name. Like, we had a client who we did design their whole website for. They waited like a year to have the contract done. And they're like, we're done. And I was like, can you just tell me why? Well, we're going to go host our website for $13 a month on X platform. Right. Like, and they don't understand all the things that go behind their website. Forget about me. I'm not talking about me. This is best practice for anything, right? Anybody who's listening, any website provider, whatever else, whatever they're charging you, like, think about all the things that go into it. And then you got to have somebody who's a thought leader to say, like, oh, you want to target fly fishing? You've got this idea. You've executed on the ground. Well, here's what you should do. You should add this page. You should put this on this page. You should use AI or something else to talk in the angler lingo so that you don't fuck up and say, like, you can use a bobber and then, like, no fly fishing people come to you. Like, right? Like, but that's the thing is there needs to be a partnership here between people. And there's such a disconnect, I think, in our industry, everybody's industry, not our industry, everybody's industry, right? Between the people who are the owners and, like, just picking on me as a marketing agency, but like the people who are marketers who, like, I'm going to market for you, but I'm going to do it in my cookie cutter, straightforward way. It's going to be on Facebook and I'm going to use hashtags because that's what's always worked for me and I'm not going to change. And how dare you suggest to niche down, because that requires me to go think and research just like it required you to. And that's going to either be more money and I'm willing to do it, or whatever, right? But they won't have that conversation. They can't think outside the box. And it's not just, I'm not criticizing all marketers, but a significant chunk of them won't do that. Just like a significant chunk of campgrounders who are listening to this will be like, that's a good idea, and they won't do anything with it. Mm-hmm. Some will, but most won't. Same thing when you hear a speech of any kind, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's just
what's actionable that you take home, right? And then what do you act on when you get home? That's the harder
lift. It's like a New Year's resolution. I'm going to do that, and then 3 days later, right?
Yep.
So anyway, sorry.
No, this is great. I mean, because this is kind of the core of what we're talking about. It actually made me think about kind of a real world example that a few years ago I was talking to a campground owner. Husband and wife that owned a campground, and they catered to bikers, not pedal bikers, but motorcyclists. And their park, they said, in the peak summer months was almost all bikers, because the word got around and that they started to market themselves that way, and they were known as a destination, and they were packed. That because the bikers loved going there, because everything they did, they were bikers themselves, so they provided what the bikers needed. It's kind of the same thing here. They were known all over the place because that people, word would get around, and again, that's how they marketed themselves, and they had a great niche.
That's awesome.
Beach. It's funny. What is the proper pronunciation of that? I've always wondered. No, Greg's looking it up. Good. We need to get this right. So anyway, I'm kind of just moving on the daily use stuff. Again, the reason I like some of this stuff going through it is like to also think about what are the daily habits of people based on what they like to do. We talked about the off-roaders. They're probably going to be gone most of the day. They're going to go out, but they're going to show up in the afternoon or evening after being out all day. People who fish, anglers, it's like, again, early morning, midday break, back out in the evening. They're early risers. It's kind of like, and to think about that, to know that if they're going to get up early in the morning, one, they'll be making, not noise necessarily, but there'll be activity, but they're going to want stuff. There's opportunities there to coffee and a bagel or whatever before they head out, stuff like that, super early, so, again, there's just some, beginner friendly stuff. If you're going to try to do that, if you're in a fly fishing area, again, attract those beginners. I tell you what, it's one of the best things you can do. Get your people who fly fish love to teach other people about it. Absolutely love to do that. So
there's that angler friendly early morning zone too for the beginners, because you don't want the beginners like hooking the toddlers in the family friendly areas, right?
Right. Correct. So yeah, those are, and those are kind of logical things. There's just a lot of stuff in there about resources, basic infrastructure stuff. Wrapping up, these are very similar places for people to manage their gear.
Oh God, bird watching is next. We're going to skip that, hopefully.
And then there was the table, the experienced versus beginner. It's kind of like there's some good stuff in there, to look at in terms of what their needs might be based on who they are. But again, it's knowing what that person is into before they arrive, whether it's fly fishing or off-roading, whatever it is. It's like knowing, and if they're interested in fly fishing, it's like, what's their experience and what are they looking for out of that? Just again, these strategic takeaways. I think these are great because reliable access to fishable waters, obviously, utility and serenity. Yes, the fly fishing angler likes, these scenic places to go out and just kind of hang out. It's very Zen-like, Brian. That's what you might need some more of that in your life.
I go. Actually, I'm playing right now. I'm playing Assassin's Creed, the new one. That's my relaxation at night. I'm weird. I'm like Elon. Like I'm not that. Obviously, I'm not Elon. And I'm not like, what is he like? He's like the #1 Diablo player in the whole world or something ridiculous like that. Anyway, that's my relaxation at night. I play like strategy games, not the shooting stuff.
Okay. Well, fly fishing would be a good Zen for you. I'm just saying. All right.
Indeed.
So, and here's yours, Brian. It's bird watching or wildlife viewing. You said you would wildlife view. So
that's true. I mean, I would. To be fair, like I would bird watch. Like I appreciate the different types of birds and how they're obviously beautiful and they like, but I'm not into it like Greg, and I also don't have the patience, just like fly fishing, to sit there and wait for them. That's my problem, right? I'm just not that person. I'm not saying it's not good, for as much as I give Greg shit. I'm not saying it's not a good hobby, right? It's just not mine.
Well, you said you liked wildlife viewing, like
yeah, absolutely. Oh. Yeah,
but here, this is one of those that I did this because it's like, well, what is there anything like is specific? Like how do you curate an experience around this kind of stuff? And this is one of those areas where most of your guests might be interested in this at some level. Again, depending on where you're located, what type of wildlife you have around, what kind of birds, and so on. For example, in Maine, a lot of people I know they do moose watching tours. They'll take them out and in areas where they know the moose are going to be. And
see, I would do that.
See them do that. You know what? I like to go fishing in areas where the moose are around, so you can do both. You can fly fish and watch moose at the same time.
What if you're trying to fly fish and you miss the moose?
Well, that's the price you pay.
I don't want to pay that price, man. I don't want to pay that price.
It's a world of trade-offs, Brian.
I'm all about it is a world of trade-offs. I told Greg this. I'm going to Churchill, Manitoba in June.
Yeah.
And we're going up there because it's in way north in the bottom of the Arctic Circle, right, in Canada. And it's the place where every summer when the ice melts up there, there's like 60,000 beluga whales that come into this like bay area right there. And you can just be right in the middle of all of them. So we're going to go up there in June. But like the trade-off is like it's also one of the polar bear capitals of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's like we're going in late June, like they're still out on the ice a little bit. And like really October, November is the time to see polar bears. So like that trade-off is like, but my girlfriend's big into whales. So we're going now. But there always is a trade-off of something.
Always. But with the wildlife viewing, this is one of the easier ones.
He did it again, Greg. Did you hear that? He said, anyway. We were talking about this after you left the show, Scott. Like whenever there's a difference between like when we're talking about something you're interested in, and then you're like, okay, that's a good point, but also like this. And then when we're talking about something and you're just like, shut up, guys. Like I'm trying to get to the good stuff. You're like,
we decided that you are the glue, Scott. Like you absolutely keep us on track. And Brian and I start spiraling out of control, and we usually hear a really calm, anyways, and it's like, oh, right.
Yeah, yep.
Scott. Thanks, Scott. Yep, keeping us in line.
Now I'm going to be super self-conscious about that.
No, we need it. These anyways are absolutely necessary.
Yeah, they're critical to the success.
Yeah, we need them.
All right, go ahead.
So this group it's not really a group. It's kind of like everyone, I feel. I mean, if you came to Maine, why wouldn't you want to see a moose? I mean, it's kind of like we talked about with cheese.
I mean, if you like stumble upon it around a corner and then it kicks you, then you wouldn't want to see it. But like other than that,
you would want to see it before it kicks you so you can do something. But
very good point. I stand corrected.
So in this case, I think this is fairly easy to execute, but it has very broad-based appeal. And if I owned a campground, for example, I use Maine because that's where I live. I would, and there were moose around, I would market the hell out of that. People love moose. They want to see moose. I mean, come on. They go to Yellowstone and try to pet freaking bison and get gored. So it's like, the moose aren't quite as mean as the bison, I think, but they're just as dangerous.
They can be
quite dangerous. Mean. Depends on the season.
Yep.
As a side note, I was on a backpacking trip once, and we got chased by a moose into the pit toilet and had to wait in there until the thing left. So,
is that because you were trying to steal the fish?
No, I was sitting around the campfire, and it was in the fall when they're getting a little bit frisky, and so yeah.
Okay. All right.
They make some ungodly noise. Anyway, in the middle of the night, that was wild. But anyway,
I've only seen one live in the wild. Well, they're on one trip. We were up in Jasper National Forest in Canada, National Park in Canada. And we saw it like we were staying right by I think it was the Athabasca River or whatever. It's a really beautiful river up there, like crystal clear glacier water or whatever. And they came right in front of the cabin windows outside. And then we saw one swim across the channel, like Krista and I did. But that's the only time I've seen him in the wild that I can remember.
I'm not going to say it.
I was thinking that in my head.
We need it.
But in this area, anyway,
it's fucking awkward now. It's not awkward pauses.
After all these years, I'm too. These habits are too ingrained. But the whole idea here, again, that this is something that you can do. You can, find out what people like. Use your local resources. Always use your local resources. It's such a big deal. It's such a big draw, and it's such, it's low hanging fruit for you, really. At the end of this, what we did was looked at what are the common themes across all these. And I don't have that link. No, I did it.
Okay.
So I'll just talk about them because they're located in there. But like places for gear drying racks, benches, lockers, whatever. Wash stations for vehicles, waders, boots. Anyway, the power washing thing I thought was. I know you mentioned that, Greg, earlier. It's like, yeah, that would be a great thing to have at a campground. If people going out and they have gear that gets dirty and muddy, staging areas, stuff like that, so that you kind of get people too away from the rest of your guests. Who, as well, to have areas where people can go to and manage their gear, and again, so they're not embedded with the rest of your guests. I think that's kind of one of those things that again, your other guests would appreciate, but also the ones who are doing these activities would appreciate. Just having the stuff that many people probably already have: maps, trail, river guides, routes, knowing local regulations and rules for whatever activity it is. It's know it, learn it, have it. Especially whether it's fishing or off-roading, it's like just that stuff to me is super important. Again, suggestions that they can do, conditions, and again, people on site, that service aspect that Greg talked about earlier. It is. Have people talk to these folks, have them go in and learn from the local people, the local experts. And if you have beginners, again, that's where those local resources really come in. Just have that available. And who knows, you may have guests who didn't come there for some of these things that may be interested once they see other people doing it. And if you offer it up, it's like, you might be surprised how many people would take you up on it too. So those are some of the things that, again, to think about people's habits while they're there. If you have groups of people come in that do these things, think about their habits. We talked about with fishing, but the other ones, that they're going to have different habits too. Again, for wildlife viewing, one of the things, a lot of times you have to get up early as well, to go out there and find when the moose are going to be walking into the meadow and so on. And I like this one that was opportunities for reflection, socializing, or sharing. Having some communal areas and stuff like that. People love to talk about this stuff, and people love to hear about it. It's again, that it helps. The people love to do that, and the people hearing it may spark something in them as well. And again, it makes for a much more memorable experience while they're there. And I feel like it's such a great opportunity. And the last one is the campground is a purposeful base camp. I like that. It's the utility as a purposeful base camp. Thought, whether it's your sites, how you're using proximity to trailheads, rivers, all this kind of stuff.
Have we lost that? Generally, stereotypically speaking, as industry, have we lost that with our overfocus on amenities? Sometimes.
Greg could probably answer that better than me, but I would say probably to a degree, yes.
Yeah, to a degree. There are certain people who get it, but it does feel like it's a serious minority, because now it does seem like, okay, well, I've got to build this park. It's got to be within X amount of miles of it. And granted, I'm going to cop to this right now. What I'm telling you is a lot of the advice that I give people when they want to build a campground, because a lot of it is really important. You probably don't want to be in the middle of nowhere, 4 hours from a city with no resources around you. That's going to be tough. You want to be close to 1 million or so people. You want to be within an hour or 90 minutes. But then when you start to look at the build, what happens immediately? Oh, we need a pool, and we need a bounce pillow, and we need a playground, and maybe some golf cart rentals. And all of a sudden, fuck, that park looks just like every other fucking park. And so at some point, campgrounds become like the perfume or the cologne counter. And I don't know, I grew up working in a mall, and I'm sure there are people watching this right now, the young people that are like, the fuck is a mall? So I grew up working in a mall, and you would walk through the department store, and you'd go past the perfume counter or the
you want to explain
counter.
I'm sorry. Do you want to explain what a mall is to Scott real quick?
I think Scott's got it. I'm not going to talk down to Scott. Anyway, so that's okay.
Very good.
I went for the anyway.
I'm giving you points for that. That was good.
It's not my bag, but I thank you. I stepped on you a little bit. But pretty soon the first person sprays a cologne at you and they're like assaulting you as you go by. You're like, you want some of this cologne? And they're spraying it at you. So the first one sprays it, the second one sprays it, the third one sprays it, and all of a sudden you're like, I just smell this amalgamous. I have no idea what's what. That's what happens with campgrounds a lot of times. You go from one to the next, and they all had a swimming pool, they all had a fishing pond, they all had it,
Take the easy path.
Sure. And if it pays you
wrong, it's
no,
not wrong.
It's what I was just going to say. If it pays you, that's fine. And if it works for you, that's fine. If you can grow on it, then who cares really? But why not lean into something like this? Because Scott, you made a really important point before. You said have these areas for these people that you're niching down to. This doesn't mean, this exercise that Scott went through doesn't mean you have to build an entire campground around it. If you have that capability, go for it. But if not, lean into it with a section of your park and have this available for those people. But it doesn't mean it has to make up your entire business. It can, but you can also lean into it with portions of your park, with a few sites, with a certain area that you develop for these folks, a couple of pages of your website, maybe not the whole thing. Maybe over time you find out there's enough interest. I can lean my whole park into this. I can change my whole website around. But in the beginning, just try it a little bit. I mean, 96 million Americans engaged in birding. There's more birders than golfers in the United States. So why not try it? And wildlife watching. You build a little blind if you've got a set of woods and throw a salt block in the woods. I don't know. All of a sudden deer are going to come in. That seems really, especially if you live in the East. I mean, white-tailed deer in a lot of communities are, a roadway hazard if there are too many of them or if there are too many cars on the road. But for a lot of people, they live in cities. They don't necessarily get to see them. If they had an opportunity to sit in a little blind with a kid and drink their morning coffee and watch the deer come in and lick the salt block, they'd be stoked. That's wildlife watching on a really simple, cheap basis. Lean into that, see what happens. But it doesn't have to become your full operation, but it gives you the opportunity to differentiate and not be that third spray of perfume down the counter and where somebody at the end of their trip is like, I don't remember anything because every one of these damn campgrounds, it all blended together by the time the trip was over.
I think that's a really good point. The whole idea of differentiation.
Yeah.
And this kind of stuff offers it. You don't have to do the ones we talked about here. They could be anything.
Yep.
But and you really differentiate yourself by the level of service you offer, and people will remember that. They absolutely will.
Well, here's what I want to do next week, guys, on the show. I want to keep breaking this down a little bit further. Jessica, can you flip over to my screen for a second? I ran this exercise in 03, and we have to get to AI. But so this is it gave me 50 niche guest segments for glamping destinations, why they'll book you, ways to blow their minds, how to reach them online. Fly fishing enthusiasts, we'll just talk about the couple ones that you did real quick. Why they'll book you, they chase hatches and need flexible fish at dawn access to rivers, but dislike schlepping wet gear into hotels.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God, yes.
Blow their minds, rod cleaning stations, breathable waiter lockers, river conditioned chalkboard, freezer space for catch and keep species, guide meetups at dawn coffee. Reach them, sponsor Hatch Report emails, post 30-second bug ID reels in Trout Bum Instagram, partner with Orvis and local TU chapter for giveaway stays. Overlanders, self-reliant 4x4 travelers, why they'll book you. They value remote camps, yet occasionally crave showers, laundry, and Pelican case storage while restocking. Blow their minds, drive through gear wash bay, container workshops with torque wrench loaners, map wall of local 2-track exit loops, secure pellet stove lounge for route planning. Post GPX taster trails on Gaia GPS community, short form YouTube of your on-site recovery ramp, collab with Overland Expo speakers. There you go, like the Overland Expo. Off-road power sports cruise, why they'll book you, proximity to legal trailheads, rooms for trailers, nighttime wrenching space. Blow their minds, 24-hour compressed air kiosk, spill containment pads, decibel-friendly section away from quiet zones, tire bead seating cage. Sponsor local scorecards on the Ride Command app, run TikTok clips of your mud shower booth, Facebook groups. I don't know if these are actually real, but RZR, Razor Addiction, Muddy Mamas, and then I have 50 more, right? So we'll go through, let's do this next week, and we'll deep dive a little bit more into this and talk about the niches if you guys want. You open to that?
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. We got to get to anything else on what you want to talk about, Scott?
No, that's good. I like this conversation. It really went in the direction I was hoping. So.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited to dive into this more. All right, we're going to pivot to AI mode. So this is going to be a little bit, I don't have clean cut videos of all this stuff, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull up, Jessica's going to pull up in a second. You can just pull it up right now, Jessica, if you want, and we're going to keep it shared, and then the three of us to the right-hand side of it. The full Google I/O keynote here. I've watched this whole thing, so we're going to not obviously watch the whole thing, but we're going to skim through some of it, but like it's not chapter marked. So we're just going to have to like do a little bit of fun stuff where I tell Jessica to pause, start, fast forward, skim through, whatever else. And there's a bunch of things in here that you guys should see related to AI. And maybe we'll pause after each one and talk about how it impacts campgrounds or RV parks, either now or in the future. Does that sound okay with you guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So Jessica, you can make this. What happens when you click full screen on that YouTube video on there? Like it should blow up in that monitor. There you go. That's big. All right. So then we'll hit play, and then I'll just tell you to skip around and pause.
Advancing our timeless mission to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. No product embodies our mission more than Google search. It's the reason we started investing in AI decades ago, and how we can deliver its benefits at the scale of human curiosity. Our Gemini models are helping to make Google search more intelligent, agentic, and personalized. One great example of progress is our AI overviews. Since launching the I/O last year, they've scaled up to over 1.5 billion users every month in more than 200 countries and territories. As people use AI overviews, we see they are happier with their results and they search more often. In our biggest markets like the US and India, AI overviews are driving over 10% growth in the types of queries that show them. What's particularly exciting is that this growth increases over time.
Okay, pause it for a sec, Jessica.
Successful launches in search.
Okay, so there's a couple things here that everybody needs to be aware of as they continue to watch this. Google's Google. Google's in it to make money. When Google says AI overviews are driving more engagement, that means people are staying on Google longer and not going to your site. When Google says search volume is increasing, that doesn't mean they're coming to your site. So be aware that this is not all good for you. Go ahead.
In the past decade, AI overviews are also one of the strongest drivers of growth for visual searches in Google Lens. Lens grew 65% year over year, with more than 100 billion visual searches already this year. So people are asking more queries, and they're also asking more complex queries. With our latest Gemini models, our AI overviews are at the quality and accuracy you've come to expect from search and are the fastest in the industry. For those who want an end-to-end AI search experience, we are introducing an all-new AI mode. It's a total reimagining of search. With more advanced reasoning, you can ask AI mode longer and more complex queries like this. In fact, users have been asking much longer queries, 2 to 3 times the length of traditional searches. And you can go further with follow-up questions. All of this is available today as a new tab right in search. I've been using it a lot, and it's completely changed how I use search. And I'm excited to share that AI mode is coming to everyone in the US starting today.
Okay, pause it for a sec. So we're going to look at more about what AI mode is going to do. Some of this stuff, like I was not even expecting. This is going to kind of blow your mind with what's going to come really, really soon to search and be able for you guys to do right natively with inside Google. But this is something you guys need to pay attention to as campground owners, well, consultants too, right? Anybody?
Yep.
Because this is like a total reimagining of the search page. We're used to for the last, and we've talked about it many times on the show, and if you've talked to me on the phone as a client or as a prospect or whatever else, like this is the disappearing of the 10 blue links, right? The 10 blue links are going away. Every different person is going to have a search page personalized to them. It's going to start to incorporate, as you're going to see, like personalization features. And forget about keywords. Forget about stuffing them on your website. Forget about all the ways that you thought you could rank before. This is completely different. You're not going to be able to track. Well, you are in some ways, but you're not going to be able to track the personalization features and how you rank like you can before. You're going to have to look at different ways to prove your SEO is working, to prove your marketing is working, and all those kinds of things. So, but this is out. I mean, they say it was out. This is yesterday. They say this is rolling out to everybody in the US today. Greg, can you see it in Google search? Or Scott?
I'm looking now.
I don't know like how quickly the rollout is. It says starting today, so.
Don't see it. I do. It does though give me a link to see how we're making AI more helpful with Gemini.
Okay.
Right. So there's an IO recap right on the Google search page.
So yeah, it's going to be there eventually, but like pretty quickly. So all right, continue, Jessica. You just click.
AI mode is where we will first bring our frontier capabilities into search. And starting this week, Gemini 2.5, our most intelligent model series, is coming to search. To share a whole lot more, here's Liz.
Thanks, Sundar. In just 1 year, there's been a profound shift in how people are using search. For years, people have come to Google to ask questions like this. And now, they're also asking questions that look more like this. They're asking longer questions, harder ones, and as you just heard from Sundar, lots more of them. They're experiencing what AI-powered search can do as we bring together our Gemini model's advanced capabilities with search's unparalleled understanding of the web and the world's information. Today, you'll see how you can ask anything, and a more intelligent, agentic, and personalized search will take on your toughest questions and help you get stuff done. This is the future of Google search, a search that goes beyond information to intelligence. And you're starting to see this come to life already with AI overviews. And AI mode takes this to the next level. AI mode is search transformed with Gemini 2.5 at its core. It's our most powerful AI search, able to tackle any question. And as Sundar announced, we're excited to start rolling out AI mode for everyone in the US, starting today.
Pause for applause. It's so hard to skip this around this because like I know they're gonna like jump. I'm gonna skip like 10 seconds, so we might as well just watch some of it. But
so there is a
highlight one I know, but it cut off like a bunch of the stuff that I wanted to show.
Okay, I was gonna say there's a 15-minute highlight from CNET. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll skip around.
You'll find it as a new tab directly in search or right from your search bar. AI mode will be loaded up with all of our best AI features and capabilities. But it's even more than that.
This is the most important one for owners, so we're going to watch this for a sec.
Over time, we'll graduate many of AI mode's cutting-edge features and capabilities directly into the core search experience. That starts today as we bring the same models that power AI mode to power AI overviews. So you can bring your hardest questions right to the search box. Today, we'll give you a tour of AI mode, and you'll see how it works and how it's getting even better with personal context, deeper research, complex analysis and visualization, live multimodality, and new ways to shop. Now that's a lot, because AI mode can do a lot. So let's dive in. First, with AI mode, you can ask whatever's on your mind. And as you can see here, search gets to work. It generates your response, putting everything together for you, including links to content and creators you might not have otherwise discovered, and merchants and businesses with useful information like ratings. Search uses AI to dynamically adapt the entire UI, the combination of text, images, links, even this map, just for your question. And you can follow up conversationally. Now, AI mode isn't just giving you information. It's bringing a whole new level of intelligence to search. What makes this possible is something we call our query fan-out technique.
Pause this for a second.
Under the hood, search recognizes when a question...
Okay, do you remember when we talked, I don't know if it was last week or a couple weeks ago, about how ChatGPT search was rewriting your queries?
Mm-hmm.
Watch this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Needs advanced reasoning. It calls on our custom version of Gemini to break the question into different subtopics, and it issues a multitude of queries simultaneously on your behalf. It searches across the entire web, going way deeper than a traditional search. And it taps into all of our data sets of real-time information, like the knowledge graph, the shopping graph, and in this case, local data, including insights from our Maps community of over 500 million contributors. Search pulls together a response, and it checks its work to make sure it meets our high bar for information quality. And if it detects any gaps, it issues even more searches to fill them in. That means with AI mode, you get all of this from just a single search, and you get it fast. Now let's take a look at what's coming next to AI mode, starting in labs. Soon, AI mode will be able to make your responses even more helpful, with personalized suggestions based on your past searches. You can also opt in to connect to other Google apps, starting with Gmail. We call this personal context, and you'll see when AI mode is bringing yours in to help. So now, based on your recent restaurant bookings and searches, it gets that you prefer outdoor seating. And since you subscribe to those gallery newsletters, it suggests some cool art exhibits to check out while you're in town. But that's not all. Because your flight and hotel confirmations are in your inbox, you get event ideas that sync up with when you'll actually be in Nashville, with many nearby where you're staying.
Okay, pause this.
You can see how personal content.
So like, this is what I mean. Forget keywords. Like, forget keywords. They're going to have their Gmail connected to this. They're going to have Google Drive connected to this. They're going to have their calendar connected to this. It's going to look through, as she just said, your recent restaurant reservations, your hotel reservations. Everything is going to be personalized to the person who's searching. And it's only going to get more that way quickly as they connect more apps to this stuff. And in Google's ecosystem, it's going to be easy. There's no way you're going to track this. Like, you're going to have an idea generically of how you might show up, but there's no way that you're going to be able to track how you're ranking to a billion different subsets of queries that are being broken apart by Google into 15 different queries and personalized based on somebody's Gmail, calendar, Google Drive, and everything else. It's never going to happen. Now, generally speaking, other than those preferences, and this is part of like why I love the conversation paired with this with niche, right? Part of this is going to be similar. So like, there's going to be a significant chunk of people who are still going to want the same RV park type experience, luxury versus non-luxury, pads versus not, whatever, right? But if you can really learn how to niche down into this stuff, that's where you're going to reach a whole lot more of these people. But forget about how you think SEO is done. It literally just died. Go ahead.
Context in AI mode makes search really yours, with recommendations customized just for you. Now, this is always under your control, and you can choose to connect or disconnect it at any time. Personal context is coming to AI mode this summer. Next, for questions when you want an even more thorough response, we're bringing deep research capabilities into AI mode. You already come to search today to really unpack a topic, but this brings it to a much deeper level. So much so that we're calling this deep search. Deep search uses the same query fan-out technique you just heard about, but multiplied. It can issue dozens or even hundreds of searches on your behalf. It reasons across all those disparate pieces of information to create an expert-level, fully cited report in just minutes.
Okay.
Links to the website.
Pause this for a second. Okay, so a couple things here, right? This doesn't really impact campground websites too much because people, at least for now, well, things, at least for now, are still going to go to your website to book CampSpot, New Book, ResNexus, whatever, right? But like for all the other like websites that are blogs or list wrap-ups of the top 10 things to do in an area or the top 15 RV parks in city, and you guys all know who I'm talking about without me calling out names. There's lots of them in our industry, right? Like those guys are in deep fucking trouble. Because this thing is going to go out and search all your shit 200 times. Like just like it showed you researching with deep research, but regular Google search will do that too to a lesser extent. It will go browse your websites and pull back this information. Now, here's the tricky part, right? And I did this exercise to make sure what I asked O3 what it thought earlier. Go, Jessica, if you want to click on the chat, see there's a question in there. AI search is far too invasive. How can I opt out of this? Yeah, you can. Norm is like we don't like Norm. I don't think you're going to be opted in by default. Is the answer. But eventually, like, I think there's going to be a lot of people like you, Norm, who are cautious. And I think the more that you see this being useful, the more, not everybody, the more many people and a majority, 60, 70+% more as we go along, are going to be like, sure, I'm going to connect that because I'm just going to get better answers. And it's all about convenience for people. It's why the United States still does not have any privacy laws to speak of, right? There are some in states. And it's why a lot of the European people, not all, a lot of the European people are super irritated at the European Union for putting so much regulation on AI that they can't get all these new features that the United States has. So there's a balance, right? I don't think you're going to be opted in by default, but also like Norm, I know you own a business too, right? Like the way, and there's actually documents that came out in Google's monopoly trial that said this. Like they were tossing around internally ways to allow publishers to opt out of this stuff, and they decided that they just weren't going to allow it. If you wanted to be indexed in Google search, you had to be part of AI. So as a business, good luck opting out of it. Like you can, if you have like a strong, maybe social media presence or something else, but it's basically kind of the death of your business. Not yours specifically, Norm, but like, I mean, and I have the same problem at Modern Campground and everywhere else, right? But this is going to completely change everything. So you can take off Norm's question for it. So thank you, Norm. But like we did this exercise on O3, and we verify. We can't really verify this. We're going to try to look at ways to track this. But I asked O3 in a separate conversation earlier today, if Google or Project Mariner and we'll get to Project Mariner in a second, or ChatGPT or whatever these AI things are browsing your website, do they show up as users? And the answer is yes, they show up as direct traffic. So you're going to go to Google Analytics and think your website traffic's up and your users are up, and it's going to be these AI things. And they're going to browse like your traffic. I've been telling people for a while, your traffic's going to go down. But if this is the case and it's all of a sudden browsing 200 websites in deep research where a consumer would be like, I'm going to do 3 and then I'm tired, I'm done, right? In theory, your traffic could go up, but it's not human beings who are consuming it. Now, maybe that doesn't matter to you, but sure as heck is eventually going to matter to the person who pays you for display advertising. Now, they might not catch on for a few years, but anyway, all right, let's go back to this thing.
Easily explore and take action. Now, that's a core part of how we've built AI mode overall and how we've always thought about AI in search. Because we believe AI will be the most powerful engine for discovery that the web has ever seen, helping people discover even more of what the web has to offer and find incredible, hyper-relevant content. You're starting to see how search is becoming more intelligent, and we've got more to show you. So I'll hand it over to Rajan, who will share how AI mode is helping analyze complex data for one of his passions, sports.
Okay, pause this for a sec. So we're going to watch this. This is going to come for sports and finance, but I want you guys to imagine from a consulting standpoint. Yep.
Thanks, Liz. Okay, so I'm a huge baseball fan. And lately, there's been a lot of buzz about these new torpedo bats. If you don't follow baseball, it's a new bat design where more of the weight of the bat is in the sweet spot. As you can see, I've been digging in on whether it's making a real impact on the game. And now, I'm wondering what the numbers say. So I'll ask, show the batting average and on-base percentage for this season and last for notable players who currently use a torpedo bat. Think about it. There are so many parts to that question. Search needs to understand who the notable players are, which ones are using torpedo bats, and their stats. I get this helpful response, including this easy-to-read table. And I know that this is fresh and accurate since it uses our sports data that's continuously updated down to the last strike. Search even brings in important context, like that it's still early in the season. I can follow up and ask, how many home runs have these players hit this season? And just like that, I get this graph. This goes back to what Liz mentioned about AI mode dynamically generating the right UI for each response. Search figured out that the best way to present this information is a graph. It created it. It's like having my very own sports analyst write in Search. Complex analysis and data visualization is coming this summer for sports and financial questions.
It gets more interesting. Wait.
Okay, so all this talk about baseball maybe you want to get closer to the game, like at the next game close. But finding the perfect tickets can be a chore. So I'm excited to share that we're bringing Project Mariner's agentic capabilities into AI mode. You've already seen how AI mode is becoming more intelligent and personalized. And here's where you start to see Search getting more agentic. Search can take work off my plate while still under my control. I'll say, find 2 affordable tickets for this Saturday's Reds game in the lower level. Search kicks off a query fan out, looking across several sites to analyze hundreds of potential ticket options. Doing the tedious work of filling in forms with all the criteria I asked for. And it puts it all together, reasoning across the results to analyze real-time pricing and inventory. Then, right here, task complete. I get great ticket options with helpful context so I can make an informed decision. Looks like these seats have a good view and at a reasonable price. Search helps me skip a bunch of steps, linking me right to finish checking out. Tickets secured.
Pause for a sec. So, like, again, how quickly this comes to our campground reservation systems, nobody knows. But still, like, read skipping a bunch of steps as skipping a bunch of pages and information that you've carefully laid out and the call to action button that your marketing team agonized over for 3.5 days. It doesn't mean anything. Like, it does, but it doesn't, right? Like, obviously have strong call to actions, obviously have good copy, obviously write for human beings in AI search. But the amount of time that some people put into these things that are now just going to be either skimmed super quick by a robot or whatever, like, it's got to all change, guys. You're devoting resources to the wrong places. Go ahead.
Search will help with tasks like this soon, starting with event tickets, restaurant reservations, and appointments for local services. Next, let's talk about multimodality. We've been blazing the trail for multimodal search since before it was really even a thing. We introduced Google Lens on this very stage back in 2017. And since then, we've made it even easier to see what you search what you see. Snap a picture with Google Lens or simply circle the search, and you can get an AI overview instantly. Like Sundar mentioned, visual search is on fire. And today, I'm excited to share that Lens has over 1.5 billion users every month. Now, we're taking the next big leap in multimodality by bringing Project Astra's live capabilities into AI mode. Think about all those questions that are so much simpler to just talk through and actually show what you mean. Like a DIY home repair, a tricky school assignment, or learning a new skill. We call this Search Live. And now, using your camera, Search can see what you see and give you helpful information as you go back and forth in real time. It's like hopping on a video call with Search. I have 3 kids, and they ask about 1 million questions a minute. And with summer right around the corner, the team and I decided to put Search Live to the ultimate test, helping us and our kids tackle something new. We recorded at home with our families just this past weekend. Let's take a look.
It looks like you're about to do a fun science experiment.
All right. Ready, Anya? Ready, Auntie? Yeah. Okay. Are you ready for your science experiment?
Yeah. Can you guess which experiment I'm trying to do? I have hydrogen peroxide and dish soap and yeast.
You're likely going to make elephant toothpaste.
I don't know which one of these strawberries is ready to eat. I'm trying to get this circular to work.
It looks like someone is ready to get their hands dirty and plant a green bean seed and put it to about 50 pounds per square inch, but don't go over 90 psi.
I mixed baking soda. What do I do next?
It looks like someone tried dipping a finger into the cinnamon water.
What should I do to make this even more impressive?
You can try using a different catalyst. Potassium iodide is a good option.
Oh, why is it green on? A ripe strawberry will also have a sweet smell. The green leaves at the top should look fresh and vibrant.
The chemical reaction is going well.
This is awesome. Thanks.
Oh boy. How do I get strawberry stains out of the shirt?
Try using a mix of 1 tablespoon white vinegar, half a teaspoon liquid laundry detergent.
So pause. Like again, I'm trying to imagine, like, there's probably so many different ways this could impact campground owners, like not obviously the discovery of your park, but how people are interacting with your campground, right? Like what they're seeing, what they're doing, what they're asking questions about around your property. And yes, not everybody's going to whip out their phone and do this. That's all going to be solved here. Just stick with us for a second. But just the way people are going to interact with objects in the world and what they know about them and the power of information and intelligence at their fingertips is completely going to be flipped on its head. Do you guys want to add anything before I keep going here? Like, what do you think so far?
I'm still just kind of taking it all in. It's a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, we're just
lot.
getting started, guys. Like, they just basically crushed all the things. Like, this is just search. So, all right, go ahead, Jessica.
With AI mode, we are bringing a new level of intelligence to help you shop with Google. As you heard earlier, AI mode brings in information from the web and our real-time data. In this case, that means you get the visual inspiration of Google Images and the world's most comprehensive set of products and retailers from our shopping graph, which has over 50 billion product listings that get constantly updated. Let me show you how this comes together. So I've been on the hunt for a new rug for my living room. I'll say, I have a light gray couch and I'm looking for a rug to brighten the room. What I need first is visual inspiration. Search dynamically generates a browsable mosaic of images and some shoppable products personalized just for me. I see rugs from some of my go-to brands and some more modern options since I often search for things in that style. Now, these are nice.
Pause for a second.
But I know most of them.
Do you hear us? Do you hear us? She said, since I often search for things in this style. Don't overlook that stuff. This is all personal. Go ahead.
Wouldn't survive a day in my home. So I'll add, I have 4 active kids, and they like to have friends over.
Which she only will have to do for a couple months, and it will just know that.
Plenty of messes. It recommends a low-pile and washable rug made from durable materials, along with some products that I can shop. But I don't know a lot about rugs, so luckily, Search points out some things to consider, and with helpful follow-ups like these. Taking a few days of research down to just a few minutes. You can imagine how helpful this new experience in AI mode will be for all of your shopping needs. Speaking of, I want a few new dresses for summer. Search gave me some great options. But now, I'm faced with the classic online shopping dilemma. I have no clue how these styles will look on me. So we are introducing a new try-on feature that will help you virtually try on clothes so you get a feel for how styles might look on you. Let me show you a live demo. Okay, so I looked at many dresses and I really like this blue one. I click on this button to try it on. It asks me to upload a picture, which takes me to my camera roll. I have many pictures here. I'm going to pick one that is full length and a clear view of me, and off it goes. While it's processing, I'll show you what's happening behind the scenes. To create a try-on experience that works at scale, we need a deep understanding of the human body and how clothing looks on it. To do this, we built a custom image generation model specifically trained for fashion. Oh, and it's back. I have to say I love live demo when it works. Alright, more on how it works. It brings in advanced 3D shape understanding, which allows us to perceive shapes and depths more accurately, helping us better visualize the human body. Our try-on experience works with your photo. It's not some pre-captured image or a model that doesn't look like you. And then, when it comes to clothes that you're interested in, the AI model is able to show how this material will fold and stretch and drape on people. This technology is the most state-of-the-art in the industry at scale, and it allows us to visualize how quality of apparel products look on a wide variety of people. And you can see it how it really gives me a feel for how this dress might look on me. Alright, so I'm now set on the dress. And search can help me find the price that I want.
Now watch this.
And buy it for me with a new agentic checkout feature. So let me get back here to the dress. And I'm going to click this thing to track price. I pick my size. Then I have to set a target price. I'm going to set it to about $50. And tracking is happening. Search will now continuously check websites where the dress is available and then let me know if the price drops. So now let's switch out of our live demo mode. And I'm going to sprinkle some IO magic. And let's assume the price is now dropped. When that happens, I get a notification just like this. And if I want to buy, my checkout agent will add the right size and color to my cart. I can choose to review all my payment and shipping information, or just let the agent just buy it for me.
Okay, pause. So, like, this is going to be interesting to me in a couple different ways, right? For one, absolutely, you can already track hotel prices and flight prices on Google Flights. You better believe this thing is going to be able to track your campground prices and alert people when your price drops. Yep. The interesting thing to me will be how they handle spam. If I was a campground owner, and I knew people were tracking price drops, I'd go in there and fuck around with my prices all day and just drop them by $1. And then just get spam alerts to a bunch of people's phones. And they'll be like, oh, I forgot I wanted to stay at that property, right? So there's going to be some kind of thing that they're going to have to tweak in relation to that. But this is going to change how your dynamic pricing works, how your seasonality works, how your everything works. And we've talked about this many times before I even saw this. A year ago, I was having conversations with clients about this stuff, about how this is going to completely change. Eventually the AI is going to prompt you, hey, it's February, it's time to book. And then it's going to book, what happens when all the reservations are front loaded in February and your dynamic pricing is set to kick in July? Because let's be clear, love you reservation systems, y'all don't really have dynamic pricing. You don't.
Yep.
Not even close. You have some form of something that adjusts pricing and maybe automatically, and then what are you going to do? You think you're going to outsmart that AI by setting up your dynamic pricing for whatever the AIs are currently all recommending their people book at in advance of the season for the booking window? in 10 seconds, it'll compensate and figure that out. So like dynamic pricing is still an interesting thing, but dynamic pricing is going to have to be done for agents. So it's going to be a pretty interesting world for shopping. All right, what's next? Anything else you guys want to add yet, or still taking it all in?
I'm just taking it all in.
Yeah.
With just one tap, search securely buys it for me with Google Pay. And of course, all of this happened under my guidance. From inspiration to purchase. Our new intelligent capabilities bring the best of shopping together with the best of AI right here in search. Our new visual shopping and agentic checkout features are rolling out in the coming months, and you can start trying on looks in labs beginning today. And now back to you, Liz.
Thanks, Vidya. As Sundar mentioned, this all gets an even bigger upgrade later this week, when we bring a custom version of Gemini 2.5 to both AI overviews and AI mode. This is the next frontier of Google search, where AI overviews bring the helpfulness of AI to everyone in the main search experience. And as you've seen today, AI mode is a totally reimagined AI search, with all our most cutting-edge AI features and capabilities. We couldn't be more excited about this chapter of Google Search, where you can truly ask anything. And we mean anything. Your simplest and your hardest questions, your deepest research, your personalized shopping needs, your just take it off my plate tasks. All you have to do is ask.
Okay, you can pause this. All right, let's skip ahead a little bit. So like, I think there's one more thing they talked about in search to just go slow. Like if you see anything with agentic mode, like let's go, keep going. I'll lean forward a little bit because I have bad eyes. All right, keep going. This is personal context. All right, let's see, keep going. Keep them forward. We'll see what this is. Gemini Live, camera and screen sharing. Okay, so this is like, okay, so Project Astra where it said that. Pause right there and we'll watch that. Oh, you skipped too far ahead. I think you clicked somewhere else. You got to go all the way back to maybe an hour. There you go. Okay, hit that.
Overflowing with exciting things. They're all being prototyped in Project Astra, like you saw earlier. And as those ideas mature, we'll graduate them into Gemini Live for everyone. And since Gemini and Android work so closely together, many of those experiences will work.
Okay, pause it for a sec. We're in the wrong place. No, that's all right. We want to see Project Astra, but go forward a little bit before we go. He said go back, so go back a little bit and see if there's anything else with Project Astra. There's a video they show of like somebody in a bike shop or whatever. You just got to click that button and drag it so I can see the thumbnails. I don't know. Keep going forward. We'll find something to watch. Just go really slow. All right, so go back. Go back to where it says Imogen 4. We'll do that. We'll look at that for a second, and then we'll find the other one. Imogen 4. Keep going a little bit forward. Okay, right there. Play that. And then I'll go look for a couple other time codes on here on mine while they do that.
Forward. The images are richer, with more nuanced colors and fine-grained details. The shadows in the different shots, the water droplets that come through in the photos. I've spent a lot of time around these models, and I can say this model and the progression has gone from good to great to stunning. And Imagine 4 is so much better at text and typography. In the past, you might have created something that looked good, but adding words didn't always work just right. So check this out. Maybe I want to create a poster for a music festival. We'll make the Chrome Dino the big headliner. Imagine 4 doesn't just get the text and spelling right, it's actually making creative choices, like using dinosaur bones in the font, or figuring out the spacing, the font size, the layout that makes it look
Okay,
like
pause it for a sec.
poster.
So this is interesting to me, guys. We've talked about ChatGPT image generation before that does some stuff like this. But what it doesn't do that I haven't seen it do yet is this creativity stuff. I haven't seen it do like it puts out some bland looking posters, doesn't it? So this, again, I haven't had a chance to play around too much with Imagen 4. I played around with, well, VO3. We'll get to that in a second. But this is gonna, again, this is just one more thing. Like I'm really feel bad for the graphic designer people out there. And I know you guys are all screaming at me like we're still better than all this thing. I really don't think you are. Just like this thing standalone by itself is a better marketer than me. It knows more stuff. It just does. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm not saying I'm better than it either. But all right, let's keep going.
The image quality is higher. The speed is faster. The text is better. All of this lets you make posters, party invites, and anything else. And with Gemini's native image generation, you can easily edit these images too, right in the app. We've also made a super fast variant of Imagen 4. We can't wait for you to get your hands on it. In fact, it's 10 times faster than our previous model, so you can iterate through many ideas quickly. All right, I want to show you one last thing. Images are incredible, but sometimes you need motion and sound to tell the whole story. Last December, VO2 came out, and it redefined video generation for the industry. And if you saw Dennis's Sizzling Onions post yesterday, you know that we've been cooking something else. Today, I'm excited to announce our new state-of-the-art model, VO3. And like a lot of other things you've heard about from stage today, it's available today. The visual quality is even better. Its understanding of physics is stronger. But here's the leap forward. VO3 comes with native audio generation. That means that VO3 can generate sound effects, background sounds, and dialogue. Now you prompt it, and your characters can speak. Here's a wise old owl and a nervous young badger in the forest. Take a listen.
They left behind a ball today. It bounced higher than I can jump.
What manner of magic is that?
Pretty cool, right? VO added not just the sounds of the forest, but also the dialogue. We're entering a new era of creation with combined audio and video generation that's incredibly realistic. The quality is so good, it feels like you're there on the boat with this guy.
This ocean, it's a force, a wild, untamed might. And she commands your awe with every breaking light.
The photorealistic generation, the emotion, the movement of his mouth and the ocean in the background.
Okay, pause.
It's incredible how fast.
All right, so we've seen those. There's a bunch of cool other new demos on search. Okay, we're going to go back. Like, I was on the wrong keynote video. So go back to 8 minutes and 21 seconds. All the way in the beginning. And we're going to watch Project, 821. Click there and then try that. We're going to watch Project Moonbeam.
I want to share 3 examples of how research is transforming our products today. Project Starline, Astra, and Mariner. We debuted Project Starline our breakthrough 3D video technology at I/O a few years back. The goal was to create a feeling of being in the same room as someone, even if you were far apart. We've continued to make technical advances, and today we are ready to announce our next chapter, introducing Google Beam, a new AI-first video communications platform. Beam uses a new state-of-the-art video model to transform 2D video streams into a realistic 3D experience. Behind the scenes, an array of 6 cameras captures you from different angles. And with AI, we can merge these video streams together and render you on a 3D light field display. With near-perfect head tracking down to the millimeter and at 60 frames per second, all in real time. The result, a much more natural and deeply immersive conversational experience. We are so excited to bring this technology to others. In collaboration with HP, the first Google Beam devices will be available for early customers later this year. HP will have a lot more to share a few weeks from now. Stay tuned.
Keep going.
Over the years, we've been bringing underlying technology from Starline into Google Meet. That includes real-time speech translation to help break down language barriers. Here's an example of how this could be useful when booking a vacation rental in South America and you don't speak the language. Let's take a look.
Hi, Camilla. Let me turn on speech translation. It's nice to finally talk to you.
Es bueno hablarte finalmente. No puedo esperar a alquilar tu casa.
Te vas a divertir mucho.
You're going to have a lot of fun, and I think you're going to love visiting the city. The house is in a very nice neighborhood and overlooks the mountains.
That sounds wonderful. Is the
Eso
house
suena maravilloso. ¿Es la casa cercana al transporte público o recomiendas alquilar un coche?
¿Hay un autobús cerca? There's a bus nearby, but I would recommend renting a car so you can visit the nature and enjoy it.
That sounds great.
Okay, pause for a second. I just got to say real quick, like, have you guys ever booked a vacation rental over Google Meet? Because I never have. But okay. But either way, like, your phone's gonna be able to do this too, right? So keep going.
You can see how well it matches the speaker's tone, patterns, and even their expressions. We are even closer to having a natural and free-flowing conversation across languages. And today, we are introducing this real-time speech translation directly in Google Meet. English and Spanish translation is now available for subscribers, with more languages rolling out in the next few weeks. And real-time translation will be coming to enterprises later this year. Another early research project that debuted on the I/O stage was Project Astra. It explores the future capabilities of a universal AI assistant that can understand the world around you. We are starting to bring it to our products. Today, Gemini Live has Project Astra's camera and screen sharing capabilities, so you can talk about anything you see. People are using it in so many ways, whether practicing for a job interview or training for a marathon. We've been appreciating the feedback from our trusted testers and some who are a little less trusted. Take a look.
That's a pretty nice convertible.
I think you might have mistaken the garbage truck for a convertible. Is there anything else I can help you with?
What's this skinny building doing in my neighborhood?
It's a street light, not a building.
Why are these palm trees so short? I'm worried about them.
Okay, pause for a sec, Jessica. I want to do one more thing, Greg, before we do that. Go to one. I'm going to find a good. Let's try 141:30. 141:30, 1 hour and 41 minutes and 30 seconds. That's fine. Right around there is fine.
for
There's
10
one
years,
thing I want to try to get
and we've
here. Go ahead. What?
never stopped. Glasses with Android XR are lightweight and designed for all-day wear, even though they're packed with technology. A camera and microphones give Gemini the ability to see and hear the world. Speakers let you listen to the AI, play music, or take calls. And an optional in-lens display privately shows you helpful information just when you need it. These glasses work with your phone, giving you access to your apps while keeping your hands free. All this makes glasses a natural form factor for AI, bringing the power of Gemini right to where you are. So, unlike Clark Kent, you can get superpowers when you put your glasses on. Okay, who's up for seeing an early demo?
Not us. Pause it for a sec, Jessica. And then just go back. The last thing is to 150 maybe-ish. Maybe a little bit further than that. Well, 150. Try 150. If you grab the red thing, it'll take... Oh, there you go. Okay.
Prototypes are already being used by trusted testers, and you'll be able to start developing for glasses later this year. Now, we know that these need to be stylish glasses that you'll want to wear all day. That's why I'm excited to announce today that Gentle Monster and Warby Parker will be the first eyewear partners to build glasses with Android XR.
Okay. All right, so we're done with this for now. Like, well, I mean, there's a few more little nuggets in there that we didn't kind of touch, like VR experiences and stuff like that. But they just like crushed everything. Like, I mean, they released so much stuff.
It was all yesterday.
Yeah, it was all yesterday.
Jesus. Okay.
Like, so I told you this stuff's moving fast, right? But like, I mean, if you look at, I mean, the big thing at the end there is the glasses, right? We've talked about search. We talked about AM mode. We talked about, Project Moonbeam or whatever else. Yeah, Facebook. Jessica was just saying has the glasses. I've got a pair of them. But like, this is going to completely change how people interact with the world. And you better believe, like I mean, I'm sure there'll be a way for you to see the light on the front of the thing. But you better believe people are going to be wearing these in your campgrounds and taking pictures and video of everything, whether it's on Facebook Live or wherever else. So like privacy is kind of out the door. It already a little bit was with phones everywhere, right? But this is going to let them live stream anything they want. It's going to, like Facebook, I can live stream from my glasses. I can create reels and stories. This is going to let them record and talk and then the little heads up display. Like anytime you have a conversation with somebody, they can Google search. They showed a 3D map of like walking directions where you can see Google Map and walk down places. You can pull up reviews of places. So like, you better believe that like whenever you're saying something to somebody, it probably should be true because they're going to be fact checking you in real time on their glasses. Right. But imagine like, how do you show up? What does search look like on glasses? How do you get your campground to be the one when they're like, again, everything's going to be voice. So I don't like, my girlfriend and I were talking last night and she was like, how do you know what you're doing is going to be really future proof against all the things that are coming so fast? And the answer is I don't. Like nobody really does. And this is why I say I have no idea what's going to happen in 3 years, right? Nobody does. This stuff is moving so quickly. But I'm telling you, like if you are a business, not a consumer, if you're a business and you want to start a business that has something or anything to do with AI, your time has gone already. It's gone. Because like these companies like Google and ChatGPT and Claude and Amazon and everybody else, right? Apple, well, maybe not Apple because they suck at AI really bad. Hopefully they'll figure it out. They got like $64 billion in cash or something, right? You'd think they'd be able to solve this. But anyway, like all these companies are coming for the consumer side of things. All the discovery, all the agents, all the search, all the queries, all the buying, all the marketplaces, all the things are going to be all done in search. Like if you run a blog, if you run a website, if you run a marketplace, if you depend on advertising income, you are seriously in for a tough time, guys. And if you've been sitting on your hands and not paying attention to what AI has been doing the last 2.5 years, man, I feel bad for you, but good luck. Because by the time you learn enough about AI to start to use it in your business, there's going to be like 18 more Google I/O things, announcement level stuff in the next 4 weeks. And then there's no path for you to be able to catch up. If you want to offer AI as a service, to be clear, I'm not talking about business in general, right? If you want to build a company or pivot a company that's offering AI in some capacity, your learning curve is too steep now. It's moving too fast. I can barely keep up with it. But from a business standpoint, like, man, guys, this is going to change how they discover, how they interact, how they take photos, the knowledge and information they have, the way they communicate, the way they share. I don't know. Like, you guys give your take. Like, to me, this is like, I get it. You guys are busy as campground owners. I get it. You don't have the time. I don't really get it, right? But I get it. That makes sense. Greg probably gets it, right? He was a campground owner. Like, I'm not saying you have this time available to you, but somehow, some way, you've got to start making 15 minutes a day to just play with this stuff, because everything in your world is about to change, is changing, not about to. I'll leave it with you two gentlemen to wrap it up.
One of the things that I think I would just say about all this is, one, it's going to be overwhelming for a lot of people. It already is. The chat GPT right now is overwhelming for a lot of people. This is going to take it away from that. I feel like a lot of people are just going to kind of shut down.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do is probably look for someone. So maybe the new business is people who do all this stuff for them. Because I mean, and again, Greg, you know about this more than anyone, but how much time it takes you to just manage your park. And if you have to spend all your time, getting up to speed with all of this stuff that's supposed to make your life easier, then you're just going to say, I'm just going to do a campground. And guess what? Get on your rotary phone and call me, because I'm kind of out at a certain point. So that to me seems like some of what's could potentially happen. Another side of that is, again, at what point do people just like throw their hands in the air? Because I mean, if you're having a hard time keeping up with it,
right? But can you, when these companies are making it so easy for consumers to adopt it by putting on a pair of glasses and talking, the consumers have no learning curve, basically. So can you really ignore it as a business owner? I don't think you can. I mean,
no, I don't think so either, because it's going to show up at your doorstep. Essentially,
we didn't get to it. Google's putting it in your watch. They're putting it in your car. They're putting it on your TV, like later this year.
Yeah. And with the glasses now, what they're describing with Android XR, and I'm assuming that's also part of Project Astra, right, Brian? The glasses are sort of a part of that. You're talking about full-on augmented reality. Full-on, to your point, your walking instructions on the road in front of you. As you turn your head, you're seeing the path where it's going to take you. Maps and information updates, search results, fact-checking people live on the little heads-up display. That's full-on augmented reality. That I can't wait for it. But there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be late getting to it.
Yeah, it's going to be there's a lot of again, like I said, maybe that's the new business. There you go, Brian. Here's your side hustle.
My side hustle. Like, what do
AI
you think
concierge.
I'm doing? This is my whole business. Like, that's what I'm doing.
We just went full circle. The new business is AI concierge.
There it is.
Right? Oh. You become the concierge for the AI for people.
I'm aware.
All right.
Yeah.
That's
it.
I got to.
All right.
I got to scoot.
Good talk, guys. I appreciate it.
Lots to think about.
Yeah, I mean, it is for sure overwhelming, but like, it's not something you can ignore. So, all right, have a good night, gentlemen. See you next week. Another episode.
Great seeing you. Great talking.
Bye-bye, everybody.